All right, before we dive into this one, a huge thank you to Upstart for sponsoring this video and for continuing to sponsor the channel. It can be so hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel when you have high interest debt, and sometimes it can be even harder to ask for help. That's where Upstart comes in. Upstart has helped over 1.8 million customers on their path to financial freedom. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high interest debt, or funding personal expenses, Upstart can help you get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. And look, Upstart knows that you're more than just your credit score, you're more than just that number. So rather than just looking at your credit score alone, Upstart's model considers other factors like your income and your employment and other things that you put on your loan application so they can help get you a smarter rate for your loan. And you can check your rate in just a few minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000 without impacting your credit score, and you can receive your funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. So don't wait, check your rate today at upstart.com/CVV. I've also put it down there in the description. Upstart.com/CVV. Please help support the channel by clicking on our links so they know that we're the ones who told you about Upstart. Again, upstart.com/CVV. It's been so long since we've done an interview.
I think 72 years.
Maybe 73, perhaps.
Maybe, yeah.
You look great for your age,
hard
though.
to keep count. Same to you, man.
Oh,
wow.
Thank you so much.
Holding up really well, yeah.
Yeah, what are you now, 104? That's
164.
Wow.
Yeah.
World's oldest man.
I feel it at least.
I bet you do.
You know.
Is that mostly with the wrestling, the lack of sleep, or the baby?
I think all those three together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's aging me quick. I'm watching my hairline. So, like, people were coming up today with, like, one guy came up with a photo we had taken together on, like, the first Jericho cruise, and he wanted me to sign it, and I wanted to cry because my hairline was, like, way down here. I couldn't believe it. You don't realize you're getting older until you see, like, a picture that was just a couple years ago, and you look so little, like, oh, my God. Yeah, so it's catching up.
I think the blue stitches in your face there really help.
Is that a nice touch?
A few people really today. See it. You can't see it in the video that much. You know, there it is. Yeah.
A few people today thought I had just drawn on my face with a marker and were like trying to tell me, like, "Hey, Hangman, like I'm so sorry, but like you got a little something on your face." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." It's
yeah. Did you watch the match last night?
It's blue stitches. The doctor told me they would blend in. They don't.
How would they blend into a blonde beard?
I believed him. I don't know. He's a doctor. What the hell I know, you know?
How many stitches is this?
I don't know. I lost count after 7 or 8.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it might be 8.
As we're sitting here right now, people might not know that last night was your Texas Death Match.
It was, yeah, Texas Death last night.
A hell of a match.
Thank you. God bless you.
Other than your chin, what hurts on you from that?
My knees. I picked Cole up for the dead eye off the apron through that table. And it didn't occur to me until, like, that very moment. Like, when I jumped, I thought, oh, shit, I don't have knee pads. This is going to hurt so bad. So that, yeah, just weird little cuts and stuff that, you know, like burns when you take a shower or whatever.
Nice.
But, yeah, this chin split wide open. You ever done a backflip and a guy, like, kicked you in the face in midair?
I can't say that that's been something that's happened to me.
I asked people today, and this never happened to anyone else either.
Yeah.
Crazy. But, yeah, split my chin open. So.
And you've got the championship still.
Still have the championship, yeah. So if I continue to hold on this for a while, my face, maybe nothing left.
What's it like going through the airport with that?
It's it's a pain in the ass. I mean, it's obviously wonderful to have. But
of course.
To take it through TSA is a pain in the ass. You can't put it in your checked bag, right? Because you can't let it leave your sight. So it's in your backpack, and it's 60 pounds or whatever, and then
60 pounds.
And you go to TSA, and they're all like, take off your belt, your shoes got to come off, electronics out of your bag, but they don't list world championships if they stay in the bag or they come out of the bag. So it's all on you. You kind of have to figure out. So I always have to take it out in separate bin, and I'm watching the guy who's seeing the little X-ray or whatever, and he you see him there, he's just kind of bored out of his mind, and he kind of he's doing this number, and he doing that, and he's peeking around at you, and you're like, yeah. I'm hoping he doesn't make a scene.
And then the questions come, don't they?
The questions come, they're, what are you the champion of? You just gotta be like, the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah, can you not read it?
Right, of course.
Yeah, geez, it says right there. My name's even on it.
Right, yeah, so, yeah. Anyway, it's quite a trip to get it through TSA.
I was looking at it earlier when we were talking. There's like a lot of blood on this belt.
There is.
Is it yours?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Is it previous champions' blood?
No,
I would hope not.
It's probably been cleaned since, so it's probably just dirty from yesterday. So I would probably guess my blood because I was the only one who touched it yesterday. So probably mine, but it was a good excuse to not have people like pick it up and down off the table.
Yeah, you wrestled a ghost
pictures and
yesterday,
stuff.
right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty weird. Right? You
how
punch him and your hand goes right through.
Yeah. How does that even work?
I don't know, but it has twice now.
So it's actually been 4 years since we last talked. Close to 72.
4 actual years.
Yeah, 4 actual years.
Estimates were off. I
Just a
rounded up.
little bit. 3.5 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, something like
Close
that.
to
Yeah,
72.
Yeah, Ring of Honor anyway.
But so much has happened since then.
Yeah.
Like for me from the outside looking in, it's so easy to go, look at everything that's happened. How does it feel for you?
It's just crazy, man. There was a pandemic. There's like a war in Ukraine. There's just so much shit has happened since then. It's hard to take it all in, honestly, you know.
And, you also, you're with a different company now. You're the champion
Oh,
of the
yeah,
world.
like wrestling. Yeah,
That too, yeah.
Yeah, that's been weird. There's a whole new, like, wrestling company. If I would have told myself now, like, 4 years ago what would be happening, I wouldn't have remotely believed it. Yeah, wild few years.
I don't know if anyone would have believed it.
No, probably not. No, it sounds like bullshit on its face.
It seriously does.
Right, yeah, at least from 4 years ago's perspective.
When you wrestled your first few matches with AEW, what did you think that, like, obviously this was the goal, having the championship, but what did you think was going to be your first year, your second year, your third year with AEW?
I don't know. I never looked at it that way. I always just knew my personal professional goal was to win this championship, and that was it. And I mean, it's just week to week, like, what the hell have I got to do? How do I figure this out and get there? And the amount of time it took, whether it was at first All Out or whether it was what ended up being 3 years later or whatever, I didn't know how long that would take. We got there.
But you're here now, and the journey though has been interesting. Like I feel like your character has shifted a lot too.
A bit. I mean, it's been a long time. I've had time to grow and change, and I guess such is human nature.
Such is life.
Such is life.
Perhaps. How much of you is Adam Page?
Like all of it, yeah.
No, but like how much of like you who you are is the character?
All of it.
Really?
Very much so, yeah. It's very weird. It's difficult to do and like reckon with yourself, and but it's also cathartic to just be like, oh well, yeah, this is shitty, but this is me.
In what way?
I don't know. I mean, just everything over the past few years. I've never been a perfect person, but to acknowledge that and I reckon with it and just put it out there. It's cathartic to get through that. Yeah.
But there's got to be something that you keep close to the vest, and you're like, that's not going to be part of the public persona.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, probably quite a few things.
Like how different if we were to hang out at your house? How much different would you be like with your family?
I wouldn't say any different, but that's one that I don't really talk about my family a lot. I feel like and other wrestlers do whatever. That's totally on that. But I've always felt like there at least needs to be something in my life that's not public. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, when your whole life's public, I feel like you start to lose being you. And you start to become like, who am I to the whole world? So I've always tried to at least keep my personal life fairly private.
And that's an interesting point, because if you're the same person with your family that you are with everybody else, then they're not getting anything different.
Right. Yeah. And then you are, I feel like you have to, it's work, and you have to have work-life balance. It's an easy way to start to lose that, I think.
Yeah. How much has becoming a dad changed you?
Probably a lot. I'm sleeping a lot less. Somehow even less. Now is actually not so bad. I'm getting a little sleep now. The sleep's going pretty good.
Is the baby getting sleep? Is that's why, right?
That's why I'm
Yes.
sleeping, yes. Yeah, it's just like your goals, I guess, shift a little. attitude towards, I don't know, just life in general shifts a bit slowly, you know.
Yeah. Did you always know that you wanted to do this?
Do this interview? I mean, I thought when you asked me today, I thought, well, I hadn't really considered it, but
If I have to.
Well, it just never occurred to me that this would happen. But yeah, when you asked, I thought, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Yeah,
it's very kind of you too. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Well, like when you were growing up, was wrestler the job you always wanted?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I went through some other things.
You were telling me how to set up the video camera, which was
so
nice.
I went through that. So in third grade, I wanted, when I grew up, to be the guy who makes the Pokemon games. I thought, like, I'll make Pokemon games when I'm grown up. Then I got into wrestling. I also at one point wanted to be a magician. I also wanted to be a clown in the circus. Let's see what else. I wanted to be a filmmaker. I never really wanted to be a teacher, but I got a job doing it, so I ended up kind of liking it. So I guess you could count that as well, and obviously wrestling, yeah.
Of all those jobs you listed, wrestler seems like the most obscure. Like magician.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. You think even more, I guess more obscure than clown in the circus. Circus is not really that big anymore. That would have been a terrible career move now that I think about it.
Yeah. You can still get to do like a lot of the fun stuff.
I mean, I'm basically, I'm a circus clown, right? Practically.
I mean, wrestling is a lot like a traveling circus.
It is a traveling circus, yeah.
Yeah.
Just the trapeze act is a little different.
It seems like you guys might get hurt just a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's not going to be a 40 or 50 foot fall. I hope I'm not shot out of a cannon, but it's not a bad idea.
That could be a good spot. I mean, you ride a horse to the ring on occasion.
True. Yeah.
That's very circus-like.
Yeah, it is. There's a ring, only one, not three. There have been two.
Ooh, that's true.
Wow. Yeah. Very similar. Yeah, I guess in many ways my dreams have come true.
How much was that horse freaking out?
All Out, I guess?
Yeah.
No, not at all. It was a performing horse. So that horse...
What was the horse's name?
I think Stony.
Stony.
Yes, I told everyone his name was Hunter Horse Helmsley. That wasn't true. His name was Stony. He was a performing horse. He was from, I want to say, somewhere in Wisconsin, kind of close to Chicago. Is Wisconsin close to Chicago?
Yeah, very.
Okay, good. Whew, okay. Yeah, he was from Wisconsin. He was in Chicago Fire and Chicago PD. He was in the Dark Knight Batman movie.
It's a famous horse.
It's a bomb-proof horse. So, like a bomb-proof horse is, trained to perform in like rodeos and live performances with, hundreds and thousands of people and fireworks and stuff like that. Like that's what they do. And that's what he did. So he was cool as a cucumber, man. Actually, I think he was probably cooler when we actually, did the live show than like trying to rehearse going out there, He
was like, I'm not performing unless people are here.
Right, yeah. He wasn't on,
That's right.
You got to be on.
He didn't hear action.
Right, of course.
He's used to working with Christopher Nolan in the Dark Knight movies.
Of course, yeah. And here I am, some asshole sitting on his back trying to ride him to a wrestling match.
That's right, in a one-ring circus.
Right, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Only one.
Yeah. If we go back here, what do you think was the first real step where you went, okay, wrestling can be something I do for a living?
Kind of working with Ring of Honor. I mean, when I very first started out at Ring of Honor, I was not making a living at it. And that took a while. So, I mean, even that, like I was teaching during the week, wrestling on the weekends, but like that money started to add up. Like, oh, wow, I can put a little bit in savings here that, whatever, like, oh my God. And I think once I knew that I was going to join Bullet Club and I was going to start touring with New Japan, I kind of knew then, like, I think even before that decision had been made, I was on just like a per appearance deal, I think. Right. So like even like I wasn't making enough for a living, but I knew at that point, like, well, I know my deal will be up at the end of the year. I know if I'm going to be in Bullet Club, I'm going to be going, over to Japan and stuff. Like I will probably get a guarantee of some sort, like a salary, like it will be a living. So then I kind of figured, and this was like April, May of that year. So I figured like, okay, well, I will wrap up the school year and I'll tell them I'm done, and we'll see when January comes around if I'm right, but I'm pretty sure I'll get a salary I can live on. And thank God I did. I'd have been screwed.
The kids must have thought you were so cool.
No, they didn't. They thought I was lame, man.
What do you? If my teacher was a pro wrestler, you'd be the coolest teacher ever.
No, they were. It was funny. I would intro the first day of class. You know, we'd syllabus and all that stuff, and I would intro the class and blah blah blah, and then I would have like a slide in my little presentation, like, okay, and I'm Mr. Woltz. I'm also a professional wrestler. Here's like a clip of me like getting hit in the head with a chair. Here's me doing a wrestling move. Like this is, whatever. And I would put all that out there, and then I'd answer a bunch of questions. Obviously not about the class, about that. Yeah. And then like once I did all that, then it was like, oh, all right. Well, he seems normal. He's our teacher. And then like it was over. That was it.
What's the question you got asked every single year after that presentation?
Oh man, I don't know. They were always really weird questions. It's hard to like.
Oh, give us a weird question.
I don't know, man. Do you know The Undertaker or whatever, or like, just stuff like stuff from people who don't like kids who don't watch wrestling.
The same questions you get when the TSA pulls this out, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, is that stuff hurt? Or whatever. Like I'm coming in class with like black eye, like just all screwed up looking. They're like, oh, what happened to you? Like, what happened to me? Shut up.
What about like parent-teacher conferences? Would any of the moms or dads be like, oh, you're the guy?
No, not really, no. But so my classes were like, they weren't English, math, so mine were like the extra classes. So by the time like parents showed up for stuff, they didn't come to my thing. Because if the parents were involved enough with the child's education, they probably had an A in my class. Like they were doing well. So they didn't need to come see me. Yeah. And then those who weren't, like if you weren't doing well in my class, your parents probably weren't coming, like those poor kids, like they just had nobody like to push them, I guess. And if you were failing my class, like you'd have to be trying to fail my class.
This idea though of betting on yourself and going, I think this thing's coming. I feel like the pieces are in place here. That's a big move to leave like the guaranteed deal that you had.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but I mean, it's just, it's life, right? You just look at the circumstances around you and try to figure out like, well, I think this is going to happen, or I think this is going to happen for better or worse. Yeah, and I mean, thankfully it's worked out so well for me. I know it always won't. I'm sure one of these days I'll make a gamble and I'll be wrong.
I don't know.
Which will be fine.
I feel like you're making a lot. You're making a lot of the right plays.
I mean, in many ways, I probably made some really bad gambling decisions. I went to college for communication. I studied communication.
Hey, me too.
With an emphasis in film. And I realized one semester in that, oh shit, I don't want to make movies. So that was probably a bad gamble, but I mean, I made, you make something of it. I managed to get a teaching job.
You continued you got your Bachelor of Arts, right?
Right, yeah. Well, I managed to do it. So I managed to get my bachelor's in 2 years. But had it been like the full 4 years, I would have quit, and I don't know where I'd be. Yeah.
Everyone who wants to make films, I feel like, is inspired by one or two big directors.
Right.
So who was it for you?
No one, yeah, because I realized I didn't want to make movies.
But you were inspired enough to go to school for it.
Well, so when I was in high school, I had a friend, and we like had a video camera, and we were like, oh, we should like, oh man, it'd be cool, because we did backyard wrestling stuff together. Like, oh, we should like make a movie. That would be cool, whatever, and we can put all our favorite music in it, and blah 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 blah. Like it'll be some fun thing to do on the weekends or whatever. So that's what we did, and I didn't realize, like, I don't actually want to make a movie. I just wanted to, like, dick around with my friends. That's really what I wanted to do. I didn't, want to actually make a movie. And that didn't hit me until, like, the first semester of college. I thought, like, oh, they're teaching me to to move to L.A. and, like, make coffee and try to work my way up to be a film director. I don't want to do that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the very interesting thing about the film business is like, if you want to be a director, it's kind of like your journey here with wrestling.
Well, yeah, very much. Yeah.
It's like, okay, you got to pay your dues
right.
for a really long time.
Right.
What was your backyard wrestling name?
So I had several.
Oh, okay. Were any of them Hangman, Adam Page?
So it wasn't Hangman yet. So there's only me and my one other friend, Adam, whose name I've now adopted. And then we had a rotating cast of, classmates or friends who would, like, for one show join in, but they weren't recurring characters. It was largely just me and my friend Adam. So to make a show, you had to have more than one. We'd have, maybe 3 matches. So it was me versus him, and it was me and him in 2 different masks, and then me and him in 2 different masks, and that was the show. So we would like wrestle on the trampoline for an hour in these hot ass masks. I was Kid Kryptonite. I was a hurricane-inspired, really poorly done superhero who was very bad at being a superhero. That was one of my characters. Another one, my name was Blade, much like The Blade. I was nowhere near as jacked, nowhere near as cool.
As Ryan Reynolds?
No, I'm like the
Blade Trinity, like Wesley Snipes?
No, Blade of Butcher and the Blade.
Oh,
right?
okay. I was going movies here.
No.
Wow.
I'm going the Blade.
Oh.
I was Blade, but I wore a ski mask that I had sewed yarn into like long hair. That was a character, I guess. And then I was just me. So those were 3. I might have had another that I don't quite remember. Yeah.
It was you just your normal name?
Yeah, just me. I mean, my name. Yeah. I mean, this was just like my parents and like my uncle and the friend from down the road who like come to watch the show.
And a trampoline.
And a trampoline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my parents, when I was, I don't know, maybe 5th or 6th grade, for Christmas for me one year, we had a trampoline. Or I guess we had busted the first trampoline all to shit. So they bought a new trampoline and they built like a wooden wrestling ring frame around it, wooden posts, ropes that I eventually took the springs from the old trampoline, hooked them up to those ropes. So the ropes had like spring, like you could do stuff on them. It was wild. Yeah. Very wild.
Man.
You couldn't bump on the wood though. It's way too much.
Did you have any really bad injuries?
In backyard wrestling,
Yeah.
no.
That's
thankfully
surprising.
not. Right? Can you imagine where I wouldn't be here had I like broke my leg on the
I was a
trampoline,
backyard
probably.
wrestler, and
Oh wow, really? What was your name? Come on.
Chris Sharp.
Chris Sharp.
Yeah.
Damn, that's not
Yeah.
bad.
It's not bad, right?
How old were you then?
16.
16.
16 and 17. We were in high school. We actually drew like crowds of like 60, 70, 80 people.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
My arch nemesis was Danny Courageous.
Okay.
And he actually ended up becoming an independent wrestler in the Toronto area.
Oh.
His real name is Will White, but then his wrestling gimmick was Bill Black. So like the complete opposite.
Damn, that's clever.
This was pretty good. So he wore white when he was Will White. And then when you made him angry, like Ken Shamrock style, he ripped it off and had black tights underneath.
Oh, so he had like
Yeah.
tear off gear and everything.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
And he
Okay.
became Bill Black. So Chris Sharp was very inspired by Triple H.
Okay.
Like I taped my left wrist and then I taped my right wrist and my right hand like Triple H.
Okay.
I was sharp talking, sharp walking, sharp dressing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I trained to be a pro wrestler when I was 20, and I was like, you know what? I'll leave this to the actual professionals.
Yeah, I think when people first get in the ring and start training, like that's the easiest part to realize, like, never mind.
I did it for like 3 months in the
Yeah.
summer of college.
Okay.
And then I was like, well, now that I've moved back to college when school started back up, it's now an hour away.
Right.
It's called the Squared Circle in Toronto.
Okay.
It's now an hour away, and I've got all these classes during the week, and like, I feel like I can't do both.
It's impossible, right?
People can clearly do it.
Right.
But I was like, I want to make sure I go all the way in.
Right. Well,
on
you had
whatever
your
it
stuff
is.
together. Some other people are
guess.
clearly out of their minds.
What I mean, when you took your first bump in an actual ring, were you like, oh, okay?
Yeah, I didn't believe how much it hurt. Like obviously I knew it hurt, but like you would see guys like bump and then they get up.
Yeah.
And I thought like, oh my God. And I mean, of course I was like 14, so it hurt way worse. I'm just skin and bones too, so that didn't help.
Running the ropes, I think, is the most surprising thing when you do
Really?
that
You
for the
think
first
so?
time. Because you're doing all these drills in wrestling school, and then you get home and you have a huge welt on your back.
Yeah. I think running the ropes for me was maybe like the easiest or most like natural thing because they had this ring in the backyard. Not that this was a real ring, but you would run the ropes. So there was spring. You'd catch your back on like. So I was kind of not that I really knew what I was doing, but like I kind of was used to that. That was a natural one.
There's also though the downside of like you think you know how to do it because you've been a backyard wrestler.
That's true.
And then you go into a ring and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Unlearning, very difficult.
Like
yeah.
I learned very quickly when I went to wrestling school that everything's done on the left side. And like when I'm in the backyard, we're giving suplexes on the right side.
Yeah, it's just Wild West. Who cares?
You
Yeah.
have no idea what you're
Right.
doing. What was the first moment after you got paid and you were able to do this for a living? What was the first moment where you went, I might actually be like pretty good at this?
Shit, I don't know.
You're like, I'm still waiting for that moment.
yeah. Like any day now, really.
Soon.
I'll think I have this figured out.
Like, I feel like you got really over with everything with being the elite, like, and everything there.
Yeah. I think like for me, that was maybe one of the biggest, or if not the biggest thing to happen to me positively in my career was not even wrestling. It was getting to do being the elite, because I talked earlier about like wanting to go to school, not because I wanted to make movies, because I wanted to dick around with my friends and make stupid videos. And that's what that was.
You got to do it.
And we did a story on BTE where I was kidnapped by WWE, and just trying to restart the story.
Yeah.
We'd started doing the Where's Hangman bit, and we filmed a bunch of bits of like just random people at PWG show or whatever. You're going, "Where's Hangman?" or whatever. And I remember Hunter at Ring of Honor like asking, I think, the Bucks about like, "Hey, what's all this Where's Hangman stuff? Like, do people think he's like he didn't really know exactly what was going on?" And they like filled him in, and they were like, "We have to use this on the show, like the pay-per-view we're gonna do, because he's supposed to be missing." And I couldn't just be at the pay-per-view if I'm supposed to be missing.
Yeah.
So he did the whole bit where I like came out, my hands duct taped together and stuff by WWE, and and it got a huge reaction, and we had like. I had gone to like Office Max or whatever the hell, and had a bunch of like missing posters, printed up, and had like the little tabs at the bottom where you pull for like a, how to report me if you saw me or whatever, and posted them all over the arena, and people were like grabbing them and trying to get them signed and all this kind of stuff. And that was like one of the first things I did that, like, I was just having so much fun doing that, and I thought like, man, this is it. Like this is what I want to do. And like BT was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, where it wasn't just like, I mean, even before I was on it, but it wasn't just like a YouTube show. It felt like a movement, It felt like we would do these indie shows or Ring of Honor shows or whatever, and they were more interested in what we were doing on BTE than anything above and beyond. And that's when I kind of felt like we're on to something. And I don't mean to like take credit for that. Obviously, was Matt and Nick's show. It's their baby. But, I was a part of it, and it felt like, man, we're really on to something, and there's no way this is not going to continue to get bigger. I don't know how much bigger. I wouldn't have imagined this bigger. But something special's happening, and I'm going to do a little bit more than make a living at this, I think.
And it was so amazing to see that storylines that you had on BTE were like carrying over.
Right.
And like fans were chanting things from BTE that like were never talked about on the wrestling shows, and I think that's where it was like so cool to see that.
Yeah, and I think like, it felt like you were on the inside of something. Like you watched the 10 or 15 minute YouTube show, like it was something you knew that we took time out of our wrestling actual schedule, what we were supposed to be doing, to make this stuff, and it was like we had a connection. You know what I mean? And people were having fun trying to give that back to us. And it was weird, because like for a while there, it felt like, for better or worse, whether they wanted it to be or not, or whether we wanted it to be or not, it felt like Ring of Honor was really about BTE. It did.
Yeah.
And that was a real turning point for me, at least mentally, in figuring out like how long this would last for me.
And then the ultimate nod was that it's all elite wrestling because it was being the elite.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's really weird to think that all this thousands of people every week, it ultimately just comes from a stupid YouTube show. Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
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 So with all of that said, what does this championship sitting in your lap mean when you finally won that?
I guess mentioning all of that and holding this championship, it puts it into a little different perspective to me than I had really ever considered. Yeah, I'm proud of this. Fuck, I'm proud of this.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of this.
Yeah, you should be.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you probably never want to lose this thing.
No, never.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
No.
I hope you don't.
I hope not
Although
either.
it seems
I don't plan
inevitable.
on
I'm
it.
so sorry.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh,
What the hell?
geez. What?
What the hell?
No. One day, maybe. But that, like, to see the whole progression of everything that you've done to now be the world champion, that's really cool.
Yeah. It's sometimes too, like, you reach the mountaintop and you kind of like, you look around and you're not sure, like, well, now what? You know? But you just talking about how we got here reinvigorates me, you know, and there's nothing more important than this in wrestling. And I feel like reinvigorates me to want to hold on to this.
Yeah.
I think even more than before.
I think there were a lot of Hangman fans who were upset that you didn't win this earlier because it felt like you were lined up to win this maybe in year 1 or year 2 of AEW.
Yeah. Well, they stuck with me. I thank them for that. I might not. I didn't stick with me for a while, and they did. So,
what a ringtone!
Someone's calling me.
Wow.
You guys hear my ringtone?
What is that?
It's my ringtone, man. You ever seen Horsing Around? You ever seen Horsing Around? It's a TV show from the 90s.
Oh my gosh.
There was a horse and he adopted some children.
Do you need to answer this?
Probably not.
What if this is like Tony Khan calling you?
What if it's the police?
What if it's the police?
Whoa.
What if we're not supposed to be in this room?
Police?
Oh, now they call it. What if it's your wife?
Uh-oh. Whoops, I opened the baby camera. Let me not pull that. Oh, it's one of those spam calls.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's a code for something. I don't know.
No, I mean it's one of you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get spam calls.
You've won a cruise.
Yeah, you know, all this bullshit.
Or they're like, the IRS needs to talk to you.
I get so much shit. Your car's warranty. We're calling you from the dealer warranty.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. They don't even bother to have a real person. They just have a recording. Oh, it pisses me off.
How does that trick anybody?
I don't know, but clearly it does. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it, right?
That's a good point.
But damn, it pisses me off. Like,
that ringtone does not piss me off, though.
You like that?
That was really good.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I want to call you just to hear that.
It's a good ringtone.
That's a really good ringtone. Who's been the person in your career that's been like the person who's been your mentor?
Damn. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever really had much of a mentor. I guess for a while, I would have said the Young Bucks, you know, when I was in the Elite and traveling with them to Japan for the first time and stuff like that. You know, I looked up to them. I respected them. And I mean, I never really felt like they were mentors as much as peers.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways,
you learned a lot from them.
I learned from them, you know. So them in some ways, Kenny, again, you know, in some ways. But I've never really felt like I had much of a wrestling mentor.
Do you feel like there's been like a piece of advice that someone's given you where you've been like, oh, now that I see it, like that?
No, I think like in a field like wrestling, advice like that is bullshit. Like I think you listen to it and you take it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you figure it out, you do you, and that is success. Like if you're just listening to what somebody else tells you, like the fuck, you know. I feel like you just do this yourself, you know, and that's something to be proud of.
That's actually a great piece of advice in itself.
I guess, but don't like take it too seriously.
I'm sure there's lots of people in the line here at the convention that want to, like young wrestlers or people that want to do what you're doing. What do you tell them? I
tell them, have a plan B, because statistically, you will not make a living at this. A lot of people would say, like, if you have a plan B, you know, that means you can't give all to plan A. Yep. So you're going to fail at plan A anyway. That's not true. I was a high school teacher and I did this. And I'm the effing world champion. And at one time I was a high school teacher. To make it through this, I had a plan B and I don't need it anymore. Have a plan B, because life is much more important than, you know, what career you want to follow or what, you know, you want people to say about you, accomplishments you want to have. Life is much more important than that. And you will need to make money to survive. So always have a plan B. That's like what I feel like people don't press that upon people enough. In telling you to chase your dreams, you absolutely should. But to also know, like, you have to reckon with the fact that you probably statistically will not make much money at this, if any. You have to know that, and you have to be okay with that.
Your story is like a perfect example of that. Like, you were kind of you were a teacher that wrestled, then you were a wrestler who kind of taught.
Yeah.
And then
that's
you
true.
got to the point where you're like, now I can just be a wrestler because you laid everything out before that.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of it's luck and timing and stuff like that.
Well, and a lot of it's hard work.
But if you don't reckon with that like reality, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak one way or the other.
Yeah. Who was the person for you growing up that like, who was your guy?
Oh, like wrestler
yeah,
guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved the Hardys when I was younger. That's really great when I started getting into wrestling. I loved the Hardys. They were from North Carolina, not too far from where I was from. Their dad was a tobacco farmer like my dad. They talked about like having a ring belt in the backyard and doing all of this and that, and like talked about pulling tobacco and like it was everything. I remember just getting their like those autobiographies or biographies or whatever at the time were real big. I remember getting all those wrestling books, and like that was the one I thought like, damn, I loved that book because so much of it I like really relate to. So they were my absolute favorites at first. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't think any, like, I guess how much I liked them at the time, like no one else compares. Because I think beyond that, like I started getting so deep into wrestling, I started to, I guess think less about like who I could just actually sit back and enjoy. And I started to think about it like, picking this and, how nitpicky people can be. I started to be like that, I guess.
There's a lot of comparisons between you and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm sure you've heard them.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's any merit there?
I don't know. I mean, whatever you see, I don't know.
You have dark trunks and you drink, and he has dark trunks and drinks.
Never my goal. I mean, I could understand how you'd see that, but it never was like my intention or my goal or anything like that. Stone Cold was awesome.
Yeah, that's a great compliment.
Of course, yeah, I'll take it as a compliment. But I think people tell me stuff like that about this guy or that guy or whatever, and thank you a lot. Like I hope people don't think like that's my intention. Like I want to be the next whatever. Yeah. Not the case remotely. Never has been.
What do you think's the AEW match that you are most proud of?
That's hard to say. Maybe 60 minutes with Brian, just for the fact that I wrestled for 60 minutes. Because I thought that I might die.
In the match?
I thought the 60 minutes is a long time to do anything. Wrestling, I thought I could actually perish. I survived it. So I'm proud of that, but I guess for a very different reason. I guess the one I'm probably the most proud of is the match with Kenny against the Young Bucks. Yeah. Proudest of that.
You've had so many great matches.
Thank you.
I imagine the one, where you win this is
that's up there as well, yeah. Those are probably the three.
Even this match last night. A lot of people are talking about it.
Proud of that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's another thing. Like, if you're not leaving the ring proud of what you've done, maybe you haven't done a great job.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I've been pretty proud of a lot of them, yeah. I don't know. I try not to get too hung up on, how I view things that have already happened. I'm forward thinking.
Yeah. Well, what is in the future for you, do you think?
Oh, maybe I'm not so forward thinking. I don't know. I'm going to hold on to this for the rest of my life. Okay. That's my plan.
That's it.
Prove me wrong.
I appreciate you making the time to do this.
I don't mind at all.
Thank you. And I end every conversation with the same question because I love gratitude. And I wake up every day and I say out loud 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I say it before I go to bed too. What are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for?
Oh, my family.
Yeah.
Wrestling, all of it, just all of this, incredibly grateful for it. A lot of times it feels like family and wrestling's all I do anymore. So lastly, I will say I'm grateful for that time that Surge came back for a little while, because when I was younger, I loved Surge. I thought it was the best thing ever, and then it was gone forever. And I always thought like, oh my God, I will never know that sweet nectar again. And then they brought it back, and I had it, and it was all right. And I was able to let that go. So I'm very thankful for that time Surge came back.
There's going to be so many people that have no idea what you're talking about.
That's fine.
And
Google
I love
it.
Google it. Google Surge. What's your drink of choice, by the way?
Free. Free, yeah.
Anything?
I'm not picky.
Yeah, that's
I'm
kind of
not
how
picky.
I am.
I'll do any of them, man. Give it to me neat. Give me a girly one. I don't care.
Like, how do you feel about White Claws?
Oh, they're not bad. I mean,
High
it's
noons?
always about the occasion, you know.
Yeah.
If it's a hot summer day and you're outside,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. No, nothing wrong with the White Claw. Yeah, they're good.
I love White Claw. I'll drink anything as well. I'm with you. If it's free, that sounds great.
It's free is the best.
But then I also get myself into situations where like there's an open bar and I'm like, well, now it's all free.
Ooh.
So now I feel like I need to have a lot of these because they're free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a sour mix, you know, like a whiskey
like a whiskey
sour,
sour, yeah.
something like that. Like I like sour candy and stuff too, so I guess that's probably why.
Yeah.
Those are good. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a drink of choice at all, but
Like if you were to sit down at the
rambling
bar
about it.
and I were to say, all right, this round's on me. What do you want?
Right now, I'd say like a water. I've been dieting so hard.
Well,
you wouldn't like.
Here
would
you
never
are,
know.
sir.
You would never know and look at me, but I've been dieting so hard. I have my little meal prep, and I packed. Let's see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, say Saturday. So I packed 4.5 days of meal prep food for this trip.
Gosh.
The remnants of which are left waiting to give me salmonella in my hotel room.
Are you traveling with ice packs?
No, I just raw dogged the meals. I put them right into the cooler, no ice, straight out of the fridge into the cooler. Ride to the airport sitting, flight, connection, whatever. Get to the hotel. It's usually like 7 or 8 hours.
What if your hotel doesn't have a fridge?
I don't think I've ever had a hotel that didn't have a fridge. At least that you
okay.
could put food in.
Okay.
You know, it might. Sometimes they don't have a fridge in the room, like a mini fridge.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, and they know you've got food, and they're like, yeah, it's okay. Put it in like the break room or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But there's always a fridge. Microwaves sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes
Well,
there's a problem.
Grateful for you. Thank you for this time.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Put me on your list.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey.
Dude, here we go.
Thank you very much,
Dude,
man.
thank you.
Wow, that's a blessing.
You're a blessing.